This entry is on x and y intercepts and also on standard form. But before we get into standard form, where we graph by using the intercepts, we kind of have to know what intercepts are. So in the milk crate, you'll see this packet. I kind of went away from using the manila folders. This packet has everything you'll need for the notes. So notes, and a little bit notes, and then the page that we're going to be doing for practice. So for now, we're going to kind of concern ourselves with the x-intercept here, the y-intercept, and eventually we'll get to this. Be very careful when you're taking out this this staple, because this page here is actually a small book, and we don't want to completely tear off one of the sides of the book. That would be pretty bad. So carefully kind of undo the staple or drag off this page so you don't kind of disrupt the staple here, and we'll carefully kind of get the staple out once we move on to this book part. You're going to cut out the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and we're going to taper glue those right into here, and then we'll get the notes in for the definition of what those are. So go ahead and pause the video, cut those out now. So we have these two vocabulary terms, x-intercept and y-intercept. And to really understand those two terms, we have to know what the word intercept means. Now, if you're a football fan, you may have heard of interceptions. There are various other ways that you could have heard the word intercept. I can't think of any right now besides football. But basically, to intercept something, you are kind of crossing over it or coming into contact with whatever you're intercepting. So the x and y intercept, if we kind of flip back here so we can take a look at a graph, the x and y intercept is where the line that we're concerning ourselves with intercepts either the x-axis or the y-axis. So we went over slope-intercept form, where this last number here was the y-intercept, but we didn't really go over what an intercept means. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. Graphs, or most graphs, also have an x-intercept, where they cross the x-axis. And in graphing by standard form, it's important to know the definitions for both of those. So the x-intercept, which is what we're going to go over first, is the point where a graph crosses the x-axis. Okay. And x-intercepts happen when the y-coordinate, or the y-value, is 0. So again, if we flip back, this is the origin, this is 0, and this is my x-intercept. Well, this, at the x-intercept, the y value is 0. So it's 0 on this y number line here, the y-axis. Okay, so the y value is going to be 0. Now, you don't need a graph to find the x-axis. You can also find the x-intercept from an equation. And you do that by replacing y. And if you're in algebra, sometimes it'll be f of x when we talk about functions. We replace this. We replace y, which is what you'll see most often. Replace y with 0 and solve for x. The y-intercept is kind of, the same idea, but it's the opposite. We're not concerned with the x-axis, we're concerned with the y-axis. So this is the point where a graph crosses the y-axis. And y-intercepts happen when the x-coordinate, or the x value, is 0. And again, to find the y-intercept from an equation, we replace x with 0 and solve for y. So it's kind of backwards. If I want to find the y-axis, I make x 0. If I want to find the x-axis, I make y 0. The way to kind of think about that is if you're trying to find the x-intercept, don't concern yourself with y. Just get rid of the term that has y with it. Okay? And you get rid of that term by replacing the y value with 0. Now we're going to work with this paper here. Again, we're not going to cut it, we're going to fold it, and we're going to kind of make one little incision that I'll kind of explain. It's a very delicate one. So you're going to take this piece of paper and we're going to actually make a book. You're going to take this and you're going to fold this back part behind here. So how that looks is you're just going to fold it up. Okay? And because this is a book that's going to have many pages, we want to kind of be as accurate as possible with our corners and our folding. If you need help, you can either have a student that's done this one already help you with it. You can have the teacher come over, because out of probably all of the foldables that we do this year, this is probably the most difficult one. So now we have that right there. If I were to open this back up, show you how to do it again, I'm just taking this top half and folding it behind. Okay, that's step one. Step two is to take these two graphs and fold them again behind. So I've got that right there, and I want to kind of be as accurate as possible and make those corners meet to get a nice even crease. Even I struggle with this one sometimes too. My last part is I'm again going to fold back, but I'm actually going to fold this part back underneath here. Kind of fold down the crease. So now you'll notice I have a book, but there are some pages here that I want to still be able to see. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this whole paper, fold it back out, and take this half and fold it just like so. Okay. Now, just like a surgeon, you're going to take your scissors, your kind of operating tools, and you're going to make an incision right along this crease here. Okay, but we only want to go up to, and again, you're kind of incision, you're cutting both, but we only want to go up to this crease here in the middle. If you go too far, you've kind of ticked the artery and your patient is dead. So I'll have more copies of this because plenty of students make mistakes on this one, but this is what you should have right here, is this kind of opening. And you're going to open this back up, and you're going to make it go like this. So you've got this diamond, and we're going to actually push this together. And fold it down nice and neat. And now we have our book that we actually have some more pages. Because we made that hole, we can now see all of the graphs and all of the slopes and x-intercept problems that we're going to be doing. Okay, so that's how you fold that one. So this slope and intercept practice book is going to end up being glued right here. You're going to put glue right on the back, glue it in right here, and we're going to open it up and work with it. It's probably easier to work without the glue first. So you can kind of remove your book. I'm going to do that anyway to put some extra space and make it so you can see this video. So I open up my book, and my first problem, I'm going to make a line between these 2 points, -2, -2, and 1, -4. So -2, -2, 1 +4. So those are my 2 points there. And I'm going to use some straight edge. I don't know where my ruler is, so I'll use the side of my book and make a line that goes through those 2 points. And my line never stops, so I'm sure to use arrows. And there's my line. And your goal for this book is to just practice finding the slope and finding the y-intercept. Now, remember, slope is rise over run. And I'm going to use 2 colors because I think that's, the best thing to do. So I'm going to find the rise and the run, the slope between these 2 points. So that's up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a rise of +6. And then count my run, which is 1, 2, 3. +3. So my slope is 6 over 3. Six over 3 is the same as 2. Which makes sense because I could have also gone up 2 over 1 and hit the line. But what we really want to practice, because you've had a lot of practice with slope, is finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So again, this is the x-axis, the y-axis. The x-intercept occurs when the y value is 0 and where the line crosses the x-axis. Here, it crosses at -1. So the x-intercept is the point -1, 0. Okay, that's the x-intercept there. Or you could say the value of the x-intercept is -1. Y-intercept is the point where it crosses the y-axis, which is right here. That's the point 0, +2. The y-intercept is 2. And if you were to write the equation of this line in slope-intercept form, it would be y equals your m, 2x, plus your y-intercept, which is 2. Okay. And I've actually done this for every page. I've made the points that you're going to use. I'm not going to do every problem in the video. I'm going to do one more, and then you're going to finish the book and show your teacher. That'll show your teacher that you're ready to move on. So this next one I'm going to do is the points -4, 0, 4, -2. Before the video ends, I'll show you the other points so you can put them in your book and start practicing. For the second page, we have the point -4, 0. That's -1, 2, 3, -4, 0. And +4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -2. So those are my 2 points. Again, I unfortunately don't have my ruler, so I'm just going to use my book to make a straight line. It's really important to make straight lines when you're finding intercepts or whenever you're trying to find specific points on a graph. Really, it's important to always use a straight line, but especially important when you're trying to find points on the graph, because if your line curves, then your point that you're finding is going to be inaccurate. So let's find the slope of this line. My rise over run, so I'm going from this point to this point, is down 2, so -2. And then my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, +8. So that's a slope of -2 over a +8. And if I reduce that, right, 2 goes into both. Divide by 2, divide by 2. -1/4. So my slope is -1/4. My x-intercept? My x-intercept is the point where this line crosses the x-axis. It's also the point where the y value is 0. Funny enough, we actually have it here. The y value is 0, so my x-intercept must be -4, which is the case right there. You might have caught that when we first started the problem. So my x-intercept is at -4, 0, which is just the value -4. Y-intercept 0, -1. So the y-intercept is -1. And if I were to say what the equation of this line is in slope-intercept form, which is y equals m x plus b, it's -1/4 x plus b minus 1. So your goal is to pause the video and you're going to do these two for pages 3 and page 4. And these final two for pages 5 and page 6. You're going to put glue on the back and you'll glue this into your entry. And that's the x and the y intercept practice. Be sure to show your teacher before you move on.